Alright, so today we'll talk about 8C, which is problem solving with Pythagorean Theorem. So I want you guys to know these figures and also what a diagonal is. For a square and rhombus, remember that the diagonals bisect each other at right angles. So this is important here. That the diagonals bisect each other at a right angles. Okay. Also, for isosceles triangles and equilateral triangles, the altitude, they bisect the base at right angles. So the altitude here, they bisect the base at right angles. So these should be added to the geometry properties that you guys need to remember. Alright, so let's jump into example 1. I already have the answer here, but I want you guys to show me how you got that. So go ahead and grab a paper and go ahead and attempt this. So we all know that Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals to c squared, which means the squares of the legs, you add them together, equals to the square of the hypotenuse. But for this one, we are given hypotenuse but missing one of the legs. So that means we have to modify it so that we can get the leg. So in this case, 3.5 squared minus 3 squared equals to x, but we have to square root that. So x is approximately equals to 1.80 meters. Alright, so here's another example, and the answer is already there, but show me how we got there. So it says two towns A and B are illustrated on a grid which has grid lines 5 kilometers apart. How far is it from A to B? Okay, so each grid represents 5 kilometers. So we need to know what A to B is exactly. Alright, so one of the legs here is 2 squares, so that means 2 times 5 is 10 kilometers. And then the bottom one is 3 kilometers, 3 squares, so 3 times 5 is 15 kilometers. And in order for us to find A to B, we need to do Pythagorean theorem. 10 squared plus 15 squared, square root that, and you will get C, which is in this case A, B. Approximately 18.0 kilometers. So that should be easy for you guys because we have been doing Pythagorean theorem since the 8th grade, so should be easy. Alright, so example 3, go ahead and do that. It says a helicopter travels from base station S for 112 kilometers to outpost. It then turns 90 degrees to the right and travels 134 kilometers to outpost B. How far is outpost B from base station S? So right now it's so easy because you don't even have to read the question there. You can immediately tell, okay, this is a right triangle and you need to find the hypotenuse, right? But I recommend that you guys practice with the word problems and then draw your own diagram because it can get a little complicated when you are on a test and you're nervous. But again, practice drawing diagrams so you can easily find the missing pieces. So in this case, again, so easy. 112 squared plus 134 squared equals to x. Square root all of that equals to x. And then you will get approximately 175 kilometers for the hypotenuse. Okay. Alright, I'm going to jump into 8e now. Again, we're still working on Pythagorean Theorem, but now we're going to work on 3D shapes. So I want you guys to read example 1 and attempt it. Alright, so it says a 50-meter rope is attached inside an empty cylindrical wheat silo of diameter 12 meters as shown. How high is the wheat silo? Alright, so again, whenever you're looking at a cylindrical thing, like a silo or like a can, you don't immediately think about right triangles, right? So the statement on top, it says, sometimes we have to apply the Pythagorean theorem in 3D problems. In this case, we have to extract the right triangles that we need to look at. So even though you guys don't immediately see it, that's when the drawing diagram comes from, right? We need to make it, right? There's a right angle, so that means there's a right triangle. So in this case, we need to find the height. Let's call it h. H for height. Again, we know that 50 is across from the right angle, so that is the hypotenuse. So we know it's 50 squared minus 12 squared equals to h squared. Or you can also just square root both sides, and you will get h is approximately 48.5 meters. Okay, that was easy. Alright, again, I'm being generous. I'm giving you guys another diagram here. It says this. The floor of a room is 6 meters by 4 meters, and its height is 3 meters. Find the distance from a corner point on the floor to the opposite corner point on the ceiling. Okay, so they're asking here, what is the distance between the corner point on the floor to the opposite corner point on the ceiling. Wait, hold on. This one goes to that one. So somewhere on the floor to the ceiling. D to A. Okay, so as you guys can see, we have two unknowns here. We don't know the distance between B and D, so we need to find that as well. Alright, I'll let you guys do that. Okay, so clearly, in order for us to be able to solve for this triangle here, A, D, and B, we need to know the legs. So we only know one of the legs. Okay. Alright, so that means we need to find this here. We need to find x. Right. Okay, so x for B, D, C. X is the hypotenuse, 4 is the leg, 6 is the other leg. Alright, so x is equal to square root of 4 squared plus 6 squared. So that is x equals to 16 plus 36. I'm going to leave it as that. X equals to square root of 52. So if we know that x equals to square root of 52, just solve for y, right? Y squared equals to 3 squared, square root of 52 squared. This is nice because that means this square root goes away. So y is square root of 61, which is 7.81 meters. So that's it. Again, it's so easy if you have drawn the diagram there. And for this example, actually, it was necessary for the problem to give you the diagram because sometimes people can mistakenly interpret the question. So like what I did before, right? I thought it was from B to D, but they said the opposite corner on the floor to the opposite corner of the ceiling. So 2 words can make a difference. Alright, so this is example 3, last one for 8, C, and E. So a pyramid of height 40 meters has a square base with edges 50 meters. Determine the length of the slant edges. So slant edges are these. They are slanted like that. So they want you to find S actually. So go ahead and do that. And I want you guys to remember the properties that I showed you earlier in the video. Okay. Alright, so we know that the height here, the height bisects the base at a right angle. Okay, and so that means this is our right triangle. So this is, the height is 40, and oops, and the base is 50. So the base of this is not 50. What they're saying is the base of this is 50. Okay, so we have a lot of things to figure out here, right? So they say the half of the diagonal here is x meters, and we know the edge here is 50 meters. Okay, so we have a few triangles to work with right here. So what do we do? I want you guys to attempt that on your own first. Okay, again, go back to the beginning of the video and I showed you guys that this was a square pyramid, right? So a square, the diagonals bisect each other at right angles. So that's awesome for us. So that means this little triangle here, this is a right angle. So x, once again, is here, and the hypotenuse is 50 meters. This is 50 meters. And we know that the diagonals of a square, these are the same length. So that means the legs are x's. Perfect. Alright, so let's find the x's here. 50 squared equals to x squared plus x squared. That is 2x squared. That is 2500. So that is square root of 2500 divided by 2. That is x. So that is let's see, 2500. That's 50 and square root of 2. So that means x is this one here. This is x actually. So that's 50 divided by square root of 2. So that means the slant height is 40 squared plus 50 divided by square root of 2 squared. Okay, the reason why I kept the square root of 2 at in the bottom, because it will cancel out the square and the square root. So s is equal to 40 squared plus 2500 once again divided by 2. And if you guys pull out your calculator, you will end up with s is equal to 53.4 meters. And to check, x squared was 1250. When we divided by 2500 divided by 2, and x squared would be 1250. So yeah, check, check. Alright, I hope that was really easy for you guys, because again, Pythagorean theorem is not a stranger to us. It should be easy. Alright, I'll see you guys in class.